The Board of Ellis County Commissioners will now come to order. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, Bobby, if you could call the roll.
Commissioner Dean Hazelhorst,
Present.
Commissioner Chair Butch Schleier,
Present.
Commissioner Neil Younger.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Order of business, I think we do have one executive session this evening. Okay, prior minutes. Did you gentlemen get to read the prior minutes?
Nope.
Any changes?
Nope.
Okay, minutes stand as submitted. Do I hear a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda items A through G.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Issues from persons not on the order of business. Jason?
Good evening, Commissioners. Jason Kennedy, Ellis County Health Services Director. Before you tonight, I actually apologize for not having something for you, but this just came up late last week. KDHE issued new guidance for mandatory quarantine when you are traveling to Colorado and several other in the U.S. sites. While that guidance maybe makes sense on paper, it loses a lot of practicality for our population, and it is a impossible task to monitor, to enforce, and really to even support given the current situation with COVID. So tonight I kind of asked for your guys' direction on this. I would like to work with Mr. Jeter and figure out what we need to. I don't exactly know how we can put this out to the public that it is voluntary for them. If they would like to quarantine when they return, that would be fine. If they're sick, we obviously still need them to isolate. If they are ill, no matter where they received or wherever they think they got COVID, they need to isolate and be tested. We want to provide guidance to them that we will not quarantine them for travel in the U.S. We will not quarantine them for travel anywhere. If they return and they are sick, we expect them to isolate. We expect them to be tested. We have everything in place to make that happen. This quarantine is unnecessary. This mandatory quarantine is unnecessary at this point and really leads to a pretty heavy impact for a lot of families that just run to a baseball game or whatever in Colorado. So with your guys' permission, I would like to go down that road. If it does take some form of action on your part, I would bring it back to you at the next meeting. For now, my direction is we will not enforce. We will not mandate any quarantine of Ellis County residents that travel anywhere that is listed as a restricted location by the KDHE. And we ask for them, if they return and they are sick, we ask them to isolate, be tested. If they want to come back and just be tested to be tested, great. Go do that. We support that. It's there. It's available. Free testing at the mall. So with your guys' direction, that's the direction I would like to go. And if it requires action, I'd bring it back to you. If it doesn't require action, I'll just put it out as a press release or some form of that this week.
Well, it seems, Jason, they want to do this quarantine issue regardless if a person is vaccinated or not. And if you're vaccinated, it doesn't make any sense at all. So whatever you think is necessary there, I'll support you.
I will say vaccines, if you are vaccinated, if you're 2 weeks, so there's unfortunately 3 different quarantine options that the state has offered. There's a 14-day, a 10-day, and a 7-day. You really need to research for about 30 minutes to figure out which one of those you fall into. If you are vaccinated and you're 2 weeks post-second vaccine, but within 6 months of your first vaccine, then you don't technically have to quarantine under this. If you're, the exemptions are numerous, and it just really is it is unenforceable. It is an unenforceable government mandate that just doesn't make sense for Ellis County.
Now, you said this was travel to Colorado.
Yeah, there's actually a significant list, and I will be honest, I printed this off at 4:30.
Okay.
And as of walking down here, the list has changed again. So it's not even all of Colorado now, it's certain counties, but I don't have that. But right now, yeah, it has several areas around the world. Colorado is the most, is obviously the closest that we, and I'll be honest, this came up because I've had several members of the community call me and say, hey, we're going on vacation to Colorado. Like, do we have to quarantine for 14 days? And so it really pushed this agenda that's a normal thing for Ellis County residents. And honestly, we have a lot of sports teams this summer that play baseball. We have baseball teams that come in from Colorado. I can't think of a more socially distanced event than baseball, and in a way that you can easily bubble or figure out a way around these rules. But is that necessary for our community to have to figure out how to game the system to get around the rules, or do we build the system that they're successful in? And we should encourage testing. We should encourage people to make good choices. We should encourage them, if they are sick, to stay home. We should encourage them to do everything they can to protect themselves and their loved ones. These mandates don't encourage any of that. They encourage them to hide from us, hide what they're doing, and not go be tested because of the repercussions of an unenforceable mandate. And so that's the part that is concerning to me, is that we are further reinforcing bad behavior with this when we should be encouraging good choices and people actually making positive changes.
Sure. Do you know what the vaccination rates are in Colorado?
I don't. I actually don't know what their vaccine rates are. I know the big concern with this is they do have several new strains, new variants in Colorado, and I believe that was the stimulus for the Colorado being added. But there's also, just in the U.S., there's Delaware, Michigan, Rhode Island, a lot of other places, New Jersey, New York. Any mass gathering greater than 500 people, any cruise ship, and then a bunch of places that I've never been to because they require you to get on a plane, and I'm just not going to do that. So,
Right. Well, I support your opinion on this.
Yeah, me too.
I do too.
Yep, visit with Bill, see whatever you guys come
Okay.
up with is fine.
okay, I'll get with Mr. Jeter. We'll figure out what we need to do to make that happen, and if it needs action, we'll bring it back to you.
Okay, sounds good, Jason.
Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you.
Okay, the monthly financial report, did you guys get a chance to review that? Okay.
Yep, all looks good.
Okay, the next item is the Western Kansas Child Advocacy Center. Tony?
Hello, Commissioners.
Hi.
Good evening.
Evening.
I'm Tony Burnett. I'm with the Western Kansas Child Advocacy Center. I don't know how many of you are new, but I am new, so just briefly, I'll kind of explain who we are and what we do. We're an organization that cooperates with law enforcement and child protective agencies to fight child abuse. We are often called in to actually do forensic interviewing of children. Of course, interviewing a child is a little bit different than interviewing an adult. So we always try to make the interview process as easy as possible, child-friendly, using the correct words, working in a way that is non-leading for the children, because our interviews are recorded and they are shared with law enforcement and with DCF, so they can become evidence. Our interviewers are often subpoenaed to appear in court cases when there is a case that results from the investigation. We also do advocacy for children and families, which means mainly that we try to connect families with services that maybe we don't provide. It could be something as simple as making a phone call to a therapist, or it may be even giving a child a ride across town. And then last, we do therapy. Our therapy is a little bit specialized. About 80% of the cases that we work with are actually child sexual abuse. So that is not something that's typically part of a therapist's initial training. That's something that has to be done afterward. So I brought you a handout that just shows, in general, some statistics about, child abuse, which is a very serious problem. The CDC estimates that as much as 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys will face some form of child sexual abuse before they turn 18. About 2/3 of the children we work with are under the age of 12. And in general, I'll say that this last year with COVID, our numbers are down quite a bit. We work in 34 counties here in western Kansas. We actually have an office here in Hayes, and we're expanding that office. In 2019, we had 613 interviews that we did, but 2020 it was 505. We think a lot of that is with COVID, having school systems closed or working remotely. A lot of the times teachers are the ones who recognize that there may be some form of abuse, and when those teachers don't have face-to-face interaction, then it makes it difficult for them to notice anything's going on. Locally, we did 42 interviews for Ellis County. We've got 95 families that we worked with for advocacy and 32 children for therapy. And so, in a nutshell, that's us.
Well, you provide a very valuable service. Do you, when you start talking about child abuse with these children, is it primarily females or males, or?
It's about, it's the majority are females, but there are boys and girls. I think that it's about 65% girls and 35% boys. And then when you look at perpetrators, it flips. It's about 65% males and 35% females who are the perpetrators. Unfortunately, those perpetrators tend to be somebody that's known and trusted by the child. About 97% of the cases we work, it's somebody that's close. About 63% of those, it's a family relation. So it's very seldom with the work that we do, stranger danger. It's mostly something that's within the home. So when children are home and when people do not have jobs, then you concentrate a lot of times those perpetrators with their victims. And so we've already seen an increase this quarter. We're right at the numbers to hit what we did in 2019. I think we had around 145 or so cases that we've worked in the first quarter of 2021. So.
Commissioner Hazelhorst, any questions?
Well, thank you for coming, and I know you guys do a great job of what you do, and that's a tough job, so thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Commissioner Younger?
Yes, thank you for coming and sharing that with us. I'd appreciate if you come back and just keep us updated, and thank you for what you do in our community.
I will say one last thing, because I always forget. We do a lot of good work, and we don't charge the families, and we don't charge our local law enforcement partners for the services we provide. So,
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you.
Is Mr. Anderson out there? Yeah.
Yep, he's here.
Okay. Okay, the next item is the county attorney positions. Robert?
Good afternoon or evening, Commissioners.
Good evening.
Thanks for having me here. Couple things, couple different topics. I came here a few months ago and kind of gave a general update on how things were going with a few weeks under my belt, and kind of the things I wanted to change and get moving forward. And so I thought I would give you kind of a general update on how things are going. This position, this job, the work that we do in my office is far more expansive and challenging and everything else than I could have ever imagined. it's a job that's impossible to be perfect at, and I have a deep desire to be the best that I can be at it, to be the best prosecutor I can be, to be the best office manager and administrator I can be, to, reach out to all of the other agencies that we work with and try and build cooperation and teamwork with those agencies, law enforcement, DCF, the Child Advocacy Center, the Sexual Assault Nurse Examiners Program at Hayes Med. So, there's, in addition to prosecuting cases, there's a lot of that going on. I'm visiting, all of those programs and their buildings and meeting their staff and learning more deeply what it is they do, so I can understand each moving part in this, these things we're trying to accomplish. So how are things going, I guess, is the ultimate question. I think they're going very well. There are times when I have a lot of self-doubt and I beat myself up and I'm not sure how things are going, but I think that's just me. I think I hold myself to a high standard, and I want to be perfect, but this is a job that you can't be perfect at. But I think they're going really well. I took a look at our numbers before I came here today. We're not quite a third through the year, and we are on pace to have filed over 600 criminal cases. I think in a typical year we normally get close to 500, so we're on pace to really be putting in some high numbers in comparison to past years. I don't know how to pinpoint how or why we're doing that. I know my attorneys are working really hard for me. I know I've tried to eliminate some inefficiencies, that sort of thing. I think those things are working out really well. So I think when we get to the end of the year, we'll be pretty proud of some of the progress we've made. Looking forward into the remainder of this year and on into next year, I know I'm going to address the proposed budget with the commissioners or with you all in more detail, but kind of an unforeseen kink in the plan is that I've got a assistant county attorney who's wanting to retire. The anticipated retire date is going to be March of next year. That person is Charlene Brubaker, or some of you might know her as Charlene Holzmeister. She primarily, or she just does, she handles our child in need of care cases and our care and treatment cases. So she really handles only those types of cases. That's a big job, but I've got another assistant county attorney, Brenda Baskell, who we've talked about it pretty extensively. She believes that, and she wants to shift over into that position. She believes she can handle by herself all sync cases, all care and treatments, and all juvenile offenders under one umbrella, which would free up, if we had a fourth attorney, as we do now, to be solely a criminal prosecutor versus what Brenda does now, which is juvenile offender and criminal prosecution. So that might make things a little more efficient as well. So I guess what I'm anticipating and what I've come here to ask you about is, with the anticipation of Ms. Brubaker retiring, certainly in March of next year, we could just hire someone at that time and there would be kind of a lull and a training period and everything else. What would really be beneficial to me is if I had the green light to go ahead and put a job posting out there, get a brand new law school grad out here working, train them up, and by the time March rolls around, that person should be pretty self-sufficient and ready to go in the capacity of filing solely criminal charges, primarily domestic batteries, misdemeanor thefts, that kind of realm. Like I said, if it's the commission's determination to not make those funds available, I completely understand it. Certainly we all have to work within budgetary limitations, but it would be extremely helpful to have those resources available to me so that there's kind of a smoother transition. And I can talk a little bit about those numbers, but the idea would be that 2022 would be an increase in comparison to last year's budget, but it would still be a smaller budget than the years prior to this year. And then looking even further forward to 2023, 2024, our budget should be less than what you would expect if Ms. Brubaker was to stay on. Getting someone brand new out of law school, obviously, that person's going to cost us a lot less. The numbers, as I see it, for the remainder of this year, if I was to hire someone sometime around July, and that's a pretty good time to start trying to recruit someone. I think generally they take the bar exam in July, and they find out around, I think they find out around August, mid-August, whether or not they've passed the bar. So that'd be a good recruitment time. Approximately $70,000 would get me through the remainder of this year. I know that some money was set aside in last year's budget for if the next county attorney needed it or didn't need it. But that $70,000 would allow me to hire on, I believe, a fifth attorney who would ultimately become our fourth attorney, as well as convert my fifth legal assistant, who we have on our budget right now, as an independent contractor coming out of our trust fund money. We'd be able to bring them on as a full-time employee, which I think is absolutely necessary. We're putting in the work and creating the workload that we just need it. We need that fifth legal assistant. And the other benefit is, if at any given day, if we only have one corresponding legal assistant per attorney, if at any given day one has to leave or is fired or whatever, it puts us in a real bind for a significant period of time. If we've got those 5 legal assistants for 4 attorneys, it's not only needed, but it gives us that breathing room, that flexibility. So that's pretty much the overview of how things are going and why I'm here tonight. And then obviously in executive session, I've got different things to speak with you about.
Okay. Do you anticipate it'll be difficult or easy to hire another attorney?
I've never had to go through it, so I really don't know what to expect. I know when I was in law school, it was a big topic of discussion that people were really nervous about whether or not they were going to be able to find jobs. So I would like to think that there's going to be qualified candidates out there who would be pretty hungry to come out here and work, especially looking at what an attorney would make base salary wise and with the benefits out here. I think it's really competitive and attractive for them to come out here, get some great experience. It doesn't have to necessarily be a long-term stay for them, and I can sell it that way. I can sell it that, hey, come on board for a couple of years, get some experience, then go off and live in Kansas City or wherever. But I think we can get a fresh lawyer out of law school and get them at a pretty affordable price.
Well, I know we did put that $70,000 back in the budget stabilization account to bring it out if you thought it was necessary. And if you think it's necessary, I would support that.
The word necessary. I think it would be extremely helpful.
Okay.
Is it absolutely necessary? We can get by without it. We absolutely could make it work, but it would be extremely helpful to the office, to the community, to ensure that reports don't go unfiled, all those things. So the word necessary, lawyers tinkering around with words, it would be extremely helpful.
Well, I know from the years we've always visited with Mr. Dries, he said it was extremely busy, and he never let us forget that either. So I'm sure you're in the same situation.
I actually had a question for you all on that. When I have to come present to you a more detailed picture of the budget, I know my predecessor would compile all kinds of data about other counties and cases. I'm seeing one head shake no. I didn't think that you necessarily needed to hear what other counties are doing in comparison to this county. I'm more so concerned with what this county is doing and how it's performing in comparison to past years. So that's what I'd like to present to you and leave out the other counties if you don't mind.
I'm okay with that.
Okay.
Good with that.
Commissioner Hazelhorst, any comments or remarks?
I know, talking to him early on when he got elected, he made that comment that already, that he would like to possibly bring somebody on and get them trained. I think it's a great idea.
Mhm.
That way there's no lag time from when Charlene leaves us and
Sure.
next one
Commissioner
steps right
Younger?
up.
I too had visited with you during the campaigning. I like your honesty. You said you were going to excel. You have showed us that. You've got an excellent staff. I know a lot of them in there. I too support this big time, especially everything just keeps adding up. I'm definitely in favor of it. And I appreciate you coming here.
Great, thank you. And yes, I do have an excellent staff. They're great. Every one of them. They work very hard for me.
Okay, do I hear a motion, Commissioners?
Whoever, Neil or me?
I go.
That one? Okay.
I move that the 70,000 be transferred from the budget stabilization line item number 001-97-1705 to the Ellis County Attorney's Office budget, 2021 budget.
Second?
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Anderson will address your executive session at the end of the meeting.
Absolutely. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you. Man, now it's a Scott Brown show, huh?
Yes, yes. Okay. Okay, the Sheriff's Office Squad Room remodel. Scott?
Good evening, Commissioners. Scott Brown, Ellis County Sheriff. So, yes, I have several items on here, but they should go pretty quickly. So the first item is during the remodel, we never did anything to the squad room. We've got some older desks in there that are falling apart just because of age. And with that said, we're lacking some space and some workability area. And so last year, at the end of the year, because of the COVID thing, there was some money transferred to Fund 6. Spoke with Greg Erbert, our Buildings and Grounds Supervisor, and we talked about the building of some cabinets and some workstations, and to get rid of those carpet squares in there because, as you guys know, our deputies work out in the county. They come in with some pretty dirty boots sometimes. And we've got a lot of mats around there, the glass mats, and it's just really a mess to keep clean. And so put out some feelers to some of the construction people that build cabinets as well as flooring, and received the following bids. You guys should have received several documents from me in regards to pictures of the squad room and those types of things also. Floors and More came in with a sum of $2,600 for it. One of the reasons, although that's a higher bid than the other one, it matches our current tile. And I would like to stay with that if possible. There's $588 difference from one to the next, but I think we got a nice building, we should probably try to make it look the same. The other area that we had was we had first-class kitchen and bath. As you can see during the things, we had them, kitchen bath being $17,005.60. They came the lowest, and then we had a couple other bids that there was a pretty large sizable gap there. So I would ask the commissioners to give approval to update our squad room, and the money's been moved to Fund 6 if possible, and it would definitely make it much more functional for us.
And we do have the funding available.
We do. It's transferred to Fund 6, and it was actually $20,000 transferred, and we actually had came under bid of that of $19,605.60. So.
Okay. Yeah, sounds like a good plan. It is a new remodel up there, and I think we need to keep it conducive to good report writing and all that kind of stuff.
It would sure help us out.
Yes. Commissioner Younger, any comments?
Yeah, Mr. Brown, I like your thought. Keep it the same. Get a little more room for everybody, make it more home-friendly, and you'll get production out of your...
Yeah, I shared some pictures with you, and you can see it's kind of cluttered in there, and we'd like to clean that up. So.
Absolutely. Yeah. Commissioner Hazelhorst.
No, good job, Scott. Thanks for getting bids and stuff for that, so.
Sure.
Good job.
Okay. Do we hear a motion?
Approval of bid, I'll make the motion to approve the approval of bids from First Class Kitchen and Bath in the sum of $17,005.60. Floors and More in the sum of $2,600 for a total of $19,605.60.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes 3-0.
All right, Sheriff's Office hours. We're finding ourselves running after 5 o'clock, our staff. I had spoken with the courts as well as the county attorney's office to make sure it wouldn't be a problem. We're requesting that you allow us to change our hours to 4:30, meaning staff would still be there, but we would be able to get our work done prior to 5 o'clock and get my staff out of there so that they can get on with their nightly family life. So it's 15, 20 minutes, which doesn't sound like a lot, but if it becomes a habit, then overtime needs to be paid, and they should be paid accordingly, and I think we can curb that cost a little bit. So I'm requesting that you allow hours to be changed for the sheriff's office at 4:30 to 4:30.
I believe we have several offices doing that same sort of thing right now. So, yeah, I think it's good, Scott. We can save a little money on overtime and get your people out of there earlier.
Okay.
Commissioner?
No problem.
15-minute means an hour to some of them, so that's perfect.
Right.
Perfect, I'm for that.
Okay, do I hear a motion on it?
Yep, I'll make the motion to approve of change of sheriff office hours from 5 PM to 4:30 PM, Monday through Friday.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0. Okay, now we're looking at a sheriff's vehicle.
We are. COVID has been a blessing and a curse, as we know in some areas, more a curse in many ways. What it did is it's created a lot of backlog on vehicles, and availability makes it very difficult sometimes. We did reach out to our local dealers before reaching out to the Davis Moore Chrysler Dodge of Wichita to see what availability is. I explained it in there in regards to Lewis Chrysler and Hayes Chevy. When we contacted them, they weren't sure of a time frame, and I think you'll see that. One of our local agencies within Ellis County waited over a year for their patrol car to come in. The Ford we could get, but they again do not know. I know that one of our local county agencies got some news in regards to a pickup that was recently ordered, and they're looking, they actually can't even order it, and it could be a year before when they can open it. So I did reach out to them, Davis Moore Chrysler Dodge. They are state bid. It's available. They're the lowest cost. It meets and exceeds any specs that we may have. So I'm requesting that, and it is a cost savings of $3,210.29 to the county. Be the first to say that it's important to keep our business in town, but we're needing a vehicle. So I would request that you allow me to purchase a vehicle from Davis Moore Chrysler Dodge out of Wichita for $34,486.01.
Are you going to be trading in any vehicle?
We are not. So we're going to hold back one, and here's why. Because I fully anticipate that we will be doing a lot of transports in the near future once this COVID and then we'll use it here in town. It's a good vehicle, but it's not worthy enough to be out on the road all the time and driven the miles that our guys drive. So I will hold that vehicle back right now.
Okay. And this is a new vehicle you're requesting?
Yeah, it's a 2021 Police Service Dodge Durango.
Okay, okay. Yep, if you need the vehicle, we have the money available for it. I think you should probably get it. I understand what you mean when you say it's hard to get vehicles.
Yeah.
I was talking to a car guy just today, and yeah, they're struggling a bit. Yeah.
Hopefully that changes in the near future, and when we order some, we can order them locally and get them in a reasonable time.
Sure. Commissioner Hazelworth?
Nothing. Thanks, Scott, again for doing your homework.
Sure.
I'll make a motion to accept the bid from Davis Moore Chrysler Dodge on a 2021 Dodge Durango all-wheel drive police service vehicle for $34,486.01.
I just want to ride in it when you get it.
Oh, absolutely. They don't let me drive them. That's for somebody else, so.
Lights and sirens?
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0.
Butch, can I get you to sign this for me, please?
Yes, I'll sign it.
I'm done, Dean.
Is this ordered by or approved by?
Get a ride in it, that shouldn't be a problem.
Whichever one you want to sign, I'll sign the other one.
Also, we can get him a ride in it, no problem. We'll just have Carolyn call it in and tell them to come pick you up.
When you give him a ride, make sure you blow
From Munger
lights and
right to
sirens.
Hayes.
I will do what we'll see what we can do, okay.
You
Okay.
can get him a ride from Munger to Hayes, it should work.
Thank you, Commissioners. Have a good evening.
Okay, thank you.
Trying to help you out, Neil.
Okay, our next item is the reorganization of appraiser positions. Lisa?
Good evening, Commissioners. Lisa Ree, County Appraiser. Come before you this evening, kind of give you a plan of what we're working on in our office according to staff, and to get your approval for a few little changes. We had a recent retirement in our office. Our administrative assistant retired at the end of April, and we're looking at another retirement probably next year. So in anticipation of the retirement next year, my plan is to take the administrative assistant position and feather that out to 2 other people, existing staff members. And then we've hired an appraiser 1 office staff member to start learning the job of the oil clerk, who will be retiring probably next year. So we currently only have listed having 1 administrative assistant in the office. And with the switching around, that would give us 2 of them, 2. And so I've included that in the budget for 2022. And we have enough funds in the 21 budget to make these changes. In fact, we probably would be saving money because the administrative assistant had been here for over 20 years. And
Okay.
that's it kind of in a nutshell. I just trying to restructure the office to get ready for retirements coming up in the next 2 years and get the office set.
And one does have to plan ahead.
Yes,
You just have to.
Yes, and I've been working on succession planning for 3 years or more. And this is part of it.
If you think this makes your office run better and smoother, I'm all in favor of it, Lisa.
The basic main thing is to plan for the retirement of the oil and gas clerk. She's been doing that for over 20 years as well, and it's just not something that you can quit one day and have someone start in the next day. So I
Sure.
think this will give us a little heads up for that.
Oh, sounds like a good plan to me.
Okay.
Good
Commissioner
idea.
Younger?
Yeah, Lisa, I like that you're on top of it. Like say, if we don't get somebody in there, that will help you train also. We're really in trouble and it's already happening. And yes, I like the idea.
Good.
Thank you.
Okay. Gentlemen, I will make a motion to approve the county appraiser's office to reorganize the current staffing structure to include 2 administrative assistant positions effective May 16th, 2021.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
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 Motion passes 3-0. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you very much.
Okay, our next item is the 2022 budget hearings. Darren?
Good evening, Commissioner. Darren Myers, County Administrator. It's that time, as we continue to discuss the budget, is to set up a couple days for the department heads and elected officials to meet with the county commissioners to discuss their 2022 budgets. Within the packet, we'd selected 2 days, June 2nd and 3rd, which I believe is a Wednesday and a Thursday, to see if that was an option that's available for the 3 commissioners to meet, and then to select certain times that you would like to meet.
I know I did, when I visited with Darren today, I don't have a problem with any of the dates you throw out there. My concern is with Commissioner Hazelhorst, Commissioner Younger, because they work. Maybe they would prefer evening sessions, or if they want daytimes, that's fine too. So I'll let you
For
guys.
you.
I'm ready for
Actually,
anything.
both of them days I have conflicts, but I think I can get out of one of them, but, I mean, we can see, we can schedule it, however it works. I mean, Neil's got a tougher schedule to do than I do. I mean, I can take off work if I need to, he just can't take off work when he needs to.
I can. I
Can
mean,
you?
and I will, yeah. Whichever works for all of us. Make it a,
I mean, I hate to have our department heads come in the evening, I know that'd be
I
nice.
understand that
That'd be
too.
great, actually, but
Sure.
I hate to put them in that situation too.
yeah, I won't do that. I'll,
So, We'll just schedule it for them 2 days and we'll see what we can make work.
Would Tuesday, Wednesday work better than Wednesday, Thursday?
Not really, because I'm gone Monday and Tuesday.
Okay. I'm guessing starting it right at 8 would work better than like 8 to noon each day? Or would you rather just do one day, 8 to 5?
8 to noon,
So
6
you
to 10.
kind of get glazed over after a while from looking at numbers all day long.
6 to
Yeah.
10, Butch, what do you think, 6 to 10 or not?
I'm available.
6 to 10?
6 to 10?
Probably not. No,
I can be there.
that's okay.
I can bore you for 2 hours till everybody else gets there.
There you go. We can start without him. I'm worried about the sheriff, you know, he may not show up that early. But just try that 8 to 12.
Okay, so you want to stay on the second and third?
See if we can make all that work.
Okay, second and third, 8 to 12.
And we will do that down here. We're supposed to be at the courts, at the courthouse this year, but I'd spoken to Amanda Truan, and with the restrictions that are still up there, it's best that we maybe switch it around this year and just keep it down here.
Okay,
I think that'd be good.
okay, and with that, we're at the county administrator report.
The only quick thing I have is the city of Ellis is requesting a grant through KDHE to buy a forklift for their recycling center. And they'd sent me a document this afternoon to ask the commission to sign in support of the grant. And if the commission will do that, give me that approval, I'll let the commission chair sign it afterwards.
Sounds good.
It's here somewhere. That's all I got.
Okay. County commission reports. Commissioner Hazelhorse.
I just got a KAC meeting May the 21st in Topeka.
Okay.
Nothing I got so far.
Commissioner Younger.
Just keep everybody updated. June 17th, we'll do another work session for the side-by-side, so if anybody would come there again and support, that would be great.
Okay, and I have no report. Do we have a motion for an executive session?
Hey, Robert, how much time do you need?
15? Okay. I move the Board of County Commissioners recess to executive session for 15 minutes, pursuit of attorney-client privilege exemption, litigation. Those attending, 3 commissioners, Robert Anderson, Darren Myers, and Lisa Ree.
Second.
Okay,
Yep, I second
second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
it.
Aye.
Motion passes 3-0.
Neil, what time does
further business, the meeting will adjourn at 6:01.
No action, by the way.
No action.
Thanks, Bobby.
Sure. Have a good evening.